live, guys. Welcome everyone to the first episode of the Armchair Quarterbacks. I have everybody introduce themselves, starting with Mr. C-Ram over there, since he's right there front and center on the screen. Just go ahead and just say. Oh, now we lost him again. We're gonna have to cut all this.
He tricked it up.
We can just hear you, Christian.
So you might as well introduce yourself, man. Or do you want to be the host? Do you want to be last?
Yeah, I could go last. I can stop recording until Christian figures it out again.
Shit, we're gonna be here all night.
We can't do that for Dom.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dom.
I ain't going to bed no time soon.
I'm crazy late.
That's
no, basically, it's all good. We can start with everyone else. Then we can end with me. So, we can go first with Dom. You go ahead and start. Just introduce yourself and just give us what your most family safe, memorable sports story. So don't be saying anything crazy on here.
He said sports story, so it can't get too crazy.
No, knowing you guys, it can.
Depends. Dominic Johnson, DJ, D Smooth, whatever you want to call it. Most memorable, or what'd you say?
Yeah, most memorable, or your most I guess most iconic or favorite sports story, whatever you want to use.
The one hand touchdown catch against USC back in 2007-ish. 2007. It's not in the intro yet, but we're gonna get it in the intro so y'all can see it every time we start the show.
Yeah, we'll get that. We'll get that taken care of. I agree. That's probably the best one for you for sure. Well, at least from our knowledge, we weren't around for high school days, but for us,
I ain't got nothing in high school like that, bro.
Yeah, that was pretty big.
Unless we bring in like Madden clips or NCAA created players.
Clips.
Yeah, there's nothing that can compete with that one. So
yeah, no, that was pretty big. All right, young Vern, it's up to you.
It's your boy, Altron. Altron Burner, ATV, Burn, Tricky Ricky, whatever you want to do.
Tricky Ricky.
True.
Whatever you want to call it. Favorite sports are most memorable. That one's a hard one for me. I might have to come back on that one. There's a lot I can think of. I mean, the pick six against Cal's up there, making the Pro Bowls up there, and then I think the interception that you have in the intro is memorable. So I gotta go top three. So I'll probably just go with those three. Those are the ones that jumped up in my mind first.
All right, that works. What about you, Goose?
Man, that's actually a good one. But yeah, Frank Guzman, aka Goose, also been known when I throw a couple down, getting called Frank the Tank from old school. So you keep those flowing. But I'd say like there's a few plays that come to mind, but I'm gonna throw a complete curveball. And like when I think of like memorable sports moments, there's actually like a really cool high school coach that I had, and it's pretty funny because I was at we were weightlifting, right? And it's your standard like this weight room, getting after it, and we were doing squats. So my squat partner was Mark Sanchez, and we're doing our squats. The tight end coach, because I was playing tight end, comes over, and he's like, "Look at both of you guys. You guys think you're strong, right?" And I'm like sitting there, like in my mind, like, "Oh yeah, we're sophomores. We're starting to hit the weight room. Like we got all these weights moving." Mm-hmm. And he gives us this big long story. He's like, "You guys ever want to play college football? You got to get your act together." He's like, "Because right now you guys are like big shiny planes." And he's like, going on with this story. He's like, "Yeah, so what's going to happen with you guys? You got these big shiny planes, brand new big airplanes, and you guys are going to get over to the runway and want to take off in the next step in your career. but they're going to realize that you didn't go to class. And if you don't go to class, then you have no engine. Well, Mark, being the smartass that he is, looks at Coach Rodriguez and says, well, Coach, if we don't have an engine, then how do we get to the runway in the first place? And our coach was so stumped. He just looked at us. He's like, if this is what I'm talking about, I'm leaving you guys. And he walks out the room. So I'm like, yeah, that's football 101 for you, man. Make sure you don't be the plane without an engine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess you do
If
need
he had
one
to
of
be on
those.
his
So.
feet, you got to say they got towed or something. You got to be quick on
Yeah, I'm
your
like,
feet.
Yeah, you can't
Keep
be
your head
defeated
on the
that quick.
swivel.
yeah.
I know.
He
You
thought
got
he
to
was
be.
so smooth, though, with the story. He was just like getting his point across, and we got to make sure we go to class.
Yeah.
But I
Coach.
will say
I mean, with coaches, most of the time, if you hit them with something, they usually don't have a comeback. They just kind of have to take it.
I just love how you picked the squatting out of all things for
Of all things.
your memory.
Yeah, he said squatting. He said tight ends. He said a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you know,
I
you
didn't hear
know.
no pauses after that.
Yeah, exactly.
If you
No
know, you
pause.
know.
Gotta
All right,
love it.
hey, Christian, you get your thing figured out yet? Are you still over there in silence?
He's just enjoying the ride right now.
Yeah, he's just watching Laker game. It's all good. I guess I'll go. Toby Modu. I don't know what nickname. Yeah, what I have. I mean,
Copesters.
you guys call me all sorts of crazy things. So
Tahisha
I don't even know.
Noni.
Tahisha Noni. Toaster. No, Christian say toaster. Okay, Toby the toaster. There you go. I guess we'll go with that one. Most memorable sports story. Actually, I'll kind of throw a little curveball to you because it won't be like me playing, but when I was coaching this team in East LA and Sotomayor, Sotomayor Learning Academy is like basically like five. There's a collection of like five schools, all like little magnet schools. They're all on the same campus, but they all came together to feed into the sports team. And like it was basically one of the most. If you could think of like the worst situation you come into as a head coach, it was that was it. The previous coach had been with the team since those kids were like in like Pop Warner, so he got fired because he misappropriated the funds for the school. So the parents were all pissed because even though what he did was wrong, they didn't want him to get fired. So that was I had to deal with that, and I was like only like 24, I think, at the time. And then our field, the coach didn't take care of the field that they had, so the they had a turf field, and since they didn't take care of it properly, the turf melted. The like little rubber pellets melted, so we had no home field for the whole season. So that so that was another thing we had to deal with. That was supposed to be our practice field as well, so we had to share the other field that we had with the soccer team and all the other teams that were part of the school. So we just had a whole bunch of things going against us. We basically had no money, like zero money, since he misappropriated all the funds. Like there was zero money left in our account to run the football team. Thankfully, we had already had a lot of equipment, but we had to do fundraisers just to make a few extra bit of cash. And then on top of all that, pretty much nobody wanted to deal with the football team because of all the drama and everything that was going on. So it was just one of my friends, or really my wife's Joya's friend at church. He was the administrator, one of the administrators at the school, and he just kind of asked me at the last moment because they had no one else to coach the team. So it was just a really bad situation. So we had no quarterback. I could kind of go on and on about the situation, but just to kind of bring it all in, the most memorable part was just us getting our only win of the season that year, and how happy and how great it felt to kind of just get that, not even for me, just for the players, like how happy they were because they knew everything that we've been dealing with the entire season. For us to finally get that win it was great. It was like just to see the looks, the happiness on the kids' faces, and how excited the parents were, and even some people, the people like the athletic director from the school. It was all around. It was just a great situation. So even though it was only win of the season, it was really probably one of my most memorable wins that I ever had in sports because of that, because of just the whole situation.
Solid. Hey, you know what came to mind as you were telling that story? You remember Gridiron Gang? because you just like
Yeah.
you're the
Yep.
Rock. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was. I'm not. I don't look as good as The Rock for sure, but it was similar situation in
Hey,
terms of adversity.
edit that out. Edit that out. Nah, you're good, bro.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Well, hopefully Christian will get it. Will get his things figured out. But just staying on sports. Just memorable sports stories. I think for us, we're all Bruins, and I think big thing that happened last week is Nico. I'm definitely gonna butcher his name. I am I'm not even gonna try. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna straight disrespect his last name for sure. Just say Nico is now officially a Bruin after leaving Tennessee and going through all his contract issues with the Volunteers, and now he ends up a Bruin. I know last year Deshaun Foster, he had a pretty rough start to the season, kind of picked it up at the end, but I think this will probably be pretty big for us coming into next season. What do you guys think?
And we got him at a
Yeah.
discount, bro.
Well, that's the truth. And here's like one of those things where we got him on a discount. I don't know if you guys saw, actually, we picked up his little brother yesterday as well. So the dude that was originally committed to us and flipped on signing day this year to go to Arkansas to go chase that purse, he ended up, here, 5 months later, following his brother. So like it in a way sets up the quarterback room that hopefully Nico sticks around more than just a year, right? But then he's got the next in line being his little brother. The one thing I was looking at though and thinking about this today was that say Nico comes in, he's successful, right? Which is what we all want, right? Like we want to be
Yeah.
competitive in the big. But if he comes in and he's successful there, you just hit it, Dom, right? Like we got him on the cheap. So at this point in time, that in this day and age, that $4 million price tag he was looking for, if he comes and turns us around, some school's
Yeah.
going to be calling. So
Mm-hmm.
like, is UCLA going to really step up and try to own it and pay the man, or is he truly a one and done regardless? Because that's going to be a steep price tag if he turns us around.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, for me, that's kind of what I was thinking about too. Now that you said that, like, even though it's a great thing for us for sure, getting a quarterback like him, but if he say he does turn us around, like you said, like he leads us, we win the Big Ten, or we go to the college football playoff, miraculously somehow we're able to put that all together. Is he going to stay? Like, given the landscape of college football now, like, is he going to stay? Is this something that's just going to be like you said, a short term deal, and then we're gonna have to completely retool again next year? So it's a great thing for us, definitely for next season, but hopefully it's not just something that just dismantles our future after next season's over.
Or pay him. I mean, okay, maybe I would have a better idea than I would, but UCLA's NIL fund, are we not competing with top schools in the rest of the country, or where are we at?
I don't
I
know.
see. Yeah, that's going to be interesting, right? Because it's like, I'm gonna take it a year back, and if you guys remember, right, like Dante Moore was a quarterback that we signed year before, 5-star kid out of Michigan, number 2 quarterback in the nation kind of deal, and we paid him essentially like, let's call it $1 million to come out, but then we didn't pay him a 1.5, which he got from Oregon the next year, and he bounced. So like,
Yeah,
it's a different kid because that's a situation where he's still trying to prove himself, and he got like a couple chances during the season, but like I think Nico coming from the SEC and already being on a playoff squad is different. I just want to see that UCLA takes it serious, right? Like they can't let a guy like that walk, in my opinion, if they're going to try to be real in the big moving forward.
Yeah. And I feel like the playing situation matters too, like with the money. Like for Dante, I feel like he got opportunities, but he didn't really get like the opportunity where it's like you're the guy and you can, make some mistakes. It was like he was always getting, put in, make some mistakes. And he's like, it's like when you're constantly looking over your shoulder, like wondering if you're gonna get taken out. And I think like in a situation where like I'm the guy. Coaches believe in me. You have that confidence to be able to just go out there and play. Like, I'm not saying that the extra half a mil have would have changed anything, but I think if you can secure your spot and know that you're that dude, I feel like maybe at least he would have thought about it.
Yeah.
I want to see this much. This is like this the last thing I'll say on this part of it, but it's like so Nico's coming in, he's got this resume with him, right? For the most part, I think wide receivers are in decent shape. I know we lost Sturdivant over to like Florida, I think he went to. But
Yeah.
then like running back
We lost
wise,
Loya too, I think,
you
right?
know, so Loya left, and then man, I'm blanking. TJ Harden, right, was our running back last
Yep.
year.
Yep. We
But
lost him
then
too.
Jalen Berger kind of rotated in. So it's like Berger goes to running back, get a couple filled wide receivers. Like it sounds good and looks good on paper, but are we still overlooking the O line? Right? Like how
Yeah.
like I guess that's the question, right? How good is Nico gonna be if we're piecing together our O line? Like is that investment really even gonna mean anything to us if he doesn't have the time to throw the rock or make a play?
Yeah. No, it's true. That's always a big piece.
Yeah, it's a lot of thoughts I have based off of what everybody else been saying, but I definitely well the one I know go back to what Toby talked about. I do not think we've been competing with NIL because we haven't got anybody. And I think for our
Yeah.
situation, we gotta be better than everybody. We're not at a point where we can just match offers from other teams. We got to be better than other teams, and I don't think
Hmm.
we've been doing that. That's why we haven't got anybody. Um, as far as Nico, I think you know, obviously I think he's going to be an upgrade from what we had, and then hopefully, even if he is one and done, hopefully he does enough to change enough to get people to want to come. And then if he leaves, then
Yeah.
it's okay because we're on the map. So I mean, that's more what I'm looking at it because I'm like, if he just plays anywhere decent, he's gonna get offered more somewhere else, and he's probably gonna jump. And that I think that's more the
Yeah.
reality than him trying to stay. Because if he really wanted to be here, he would have came here initially.
True.
So Brian, let me ask you this because I feel like I saw essentially that they're saying like he made a comment about, it's not all about the money. That was the thing that he kind of like, hung his hat on about leaving Tennessee, right? But it's going to be hard to say that because if he does bounce for that bigger purse, clearly it's about the money. But like a lot of people are trying to relate this now to the league, right? And it's like when they're trying to look at it and compare it to the league, players are locked into their contracts unless they get waived or cut. There is no just like, oh, like someone gave me more money, I'm bouncing. So like, should it, should it be as easy as just that? Someone just saying, hey, here's more money and you're allowed to bounce, or like, should they finally put a true contract on this that is a contract that says, hey, you're binded here because we're paying you. What are your thoughts
I
on
think
it?
it. I think it's the give or take because you have the situations of people doing what they've been kind of been doing with the NIL. They're just chasing a bit bigger bag, or you're gonna have situations where someone came in with not that much notoriety and just say they blew up and they balled out where they probably deserve more money. So if they get locked into a contract, then it can be both ways. Where now, if you ball out, shoot, you're stuck at whatever you came in at because you were only a 2 or 3 star compared to this 5 star. So I think I see both ways, and I don't know which one is the right way. I think I'm okay with going to get more money. I just think maybe I don't know. I don't know. That's a hard one. 'Cause I think I'd rather have loyalty and like have people stay where they are instead of bouncing around and get the more money. But I think that someone should have the right to try to get more money based off of how they're performing.
So you kind of just said something that came up in a conversation last week with Embo. which maybe one day we could get him on a little podcast with us here. But it's like, he was talking about in a lot of these NFL rooms now, it went from exactly that, where they would look for loyalty and dedication and like perseverance through maybe a difficult season. They turned it around and had a winning season the next time around, and then that player did that much better. But they're saying now, you're looking at it, and some of these NFL draft picks have gone to 3 or 4 different schools at this point in time.
Yeah.
So it's like, what coach do you even call to reference them, let alone, that loyalty is a big question mark when you got 4 programs in the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, how do NFL teams now start going off of that character when these coaches really don't know those players outside of, hey, we paid them more to come for X amount of time?
Yeah,
so it's kind of
that's true.
crazy looking at that perspective.
Yeah, and another I don't know if you guys heard about the NCAA is going to be lifting or is looking at lifting about 100. I think it was like 156 of their rules, so schools can start paying athletes directly instead of having to go through like these funds and different third party sources to get these NIL deals funded. Now, I think that might be a good thing, because then schools kind of have a little bit more, can take more onus upon themselves to keep those type of players at their schools instead of having to rely on these funds being funded so that they can actually compete with other schools. But I don't know. I don't know the whole NCAA rule book, but I don't know if that will allow them to kind of, I think what you're touching on, Frank, sign people to like contracts instead of just like, oh, you can just hop around based on who's throwing more money at you. Like now that these rules have been bended or not bended, but removed, now we can just say, hey, here's a 2-year. I feel like it's going to lead to basically NFL, the college sports basically becoming pro sports essentially, like here, you're bringing this player in, you're basically signing them to contracts instead of them being here on scholarship. And like, well, they're on scholarship, but then just being here on a scholarship like we were, like how we were when we're back in college, and that's all we had. And we got our little stipend and that was it. Now players are on scholarship. Now they're also, in addition, they're signing these multi-year deals so that they can stay, so the school can maybe lock them in for X amount of years and not worry about them leaving for at least for another school.
I think at this point they should honestly just get rid of scholarships altogether.
No,
I mean, like,
as well.
let these players are getting paid. I saw that so the quarterback who was at UCLA for literally 10 practices, Joey Aguilar, the quarterback from Appalachian State, he got paid $200,000 for those 10
I
practices.
saw that. That's crazy.
Like, yeah. So let's scrap the whole like Scully talk and all that. Like these guys are getting paid now, man. And like you look at stories of Texas where, if you're an O lineman on their roster, doesn't matter Scully or non-Scully, they give you $100,000 in a car.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a different ball game compared to like, we used to get talked to about, oh, you can't let a booster pay for your lunch. They can't pay for your dinner. They can't do this. They can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're talking about cars and 6 figures coming your way. And it's like, hey, congrats. Someone else is going to pay you more.
Yeah. Well, back in our day, it was more the money handshake, and now people you just basically get handed. Yeah, you just get it sent directly to your bank account without no repercussions. It's wild. It's crazy. But I mean, I'm one of those, because one of the things I loved about, I'm sure you guys feel the same way when it comes to college. Oh yeah, no, it's true. I think about it I look at it the same way. I'm like, man, we were a few years too early for college.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what it is. How's it looking, Christian?
Christian gave up on us.
Yeah.
You want to get.
He can hear us. I know the game's about to be over. We'll get to that in a second. But yeah, it's with the landscape of college football changing and just college sports in general. Just for me, I've always loved I enjoy watching college sports more than pro sports most of the time, just because of just the way that you get into the game, the pageantry, all that good stuff. I feel like little by little that's starting to chip away and go away. But it's probably I love that the players are getting their money, but things like one thing that really I've been seeing like a pattern of. I think I mentioned it in our group chat. Was like these players getting into these car crashes, like especially at Georgia. Like it just amazes me how like people keep repeating the same things over and over. Like Georgia had someone die or two people die, a player and I think it was I don't know if it was a trainer or one of the team managers. And they have brought in people to talk to the team, try to put workshops in place, put restrictions in place. But then I think there's still been 2, 3, 4 more incidents since that time of people getting arrested for speeding, or just getting into car crashes and things like that. I was like, yeah, these kids are too young to be having all this money. In my opinion, to be making these, you can make 18-year-olds like $1 million, $500,000, and expecting them to make good decisions is not going to happen. So I want them to get their money. I don't want to seem like I'm anti athletes because I wish we got our money when we were in college. Like based on video games, all these different things, all the money that the school makes off of the players. But I think there needs to be some sort of like balance or something put in place that can help these players adjust to this newfound wealth that they're just suddenly given as soon as they step on campus.
Yeah, I think it's
Wait,
tough. It's tough when you have like when money like doesn't matter. Like money is not a blocker. I think like
Mm-hmm.
we remember what it felt like. Like you feel invincible to a certain extent. Like everywhere you go, everything you do, it's like you're in the spotlight. Like people know you, people talk to you. Like there's just so many. I feel like things just from a day to day standpoint that like only like almost in a sense like kind of stroke your ego a little bit. And I think that it takes a lot of discipline to like really have your head on straight and like understand um how much really like power you really have um in that situation. And when you remove like we did that stuff and we were broke. Like, well, I'm saying I guess I speak for myself, but like,
No, I was broke too. I'm right there with you.
yeah.
So
But to like, we were broke and we still felt like that. Like, we still felt like,
yeah,
bro, there's nothing I can't do right now because I want to. Like, you
yeah,
can hop in
true.
your car and drive to Hollywood or like just whatever. Um, I couldn't imagine the responsibility of like having $200,000. Like, honest, I would have been on time to practice every day. Like, if we was getting that kind of money. But
Yeah,
like,
well, yeah, that's one side of it. True.
yeah, I mean, there's the motivation piece like that. Like, you financially motivated, but like, just the responsibility that comes with that, I think is it's a lot to ask, and I don't know, like, what the fix would be. Like, how do you? I mean, because you could have brought people in to talk to me, and it would have just went, ooh, like,
Yeah.
good
No.
good talk.
Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah. When I was in college, I was Jeff Locke were there was a former UCLA I think I don't know if he played I think he played linebacker. His name is Ramogi Huma. He started this organization called NIL or it was called NI no not NIL it was not it was called NACA. It was the National Association for College Athletes. It was basically he was trying to create his own like college athlete like players association. I think I said the acronym wrong. I think I said NACA. I don't know if that's what it was. What is actually the correct acronym? But basically, instead of because a lot of people at that time people were kind of balking at the idea of giving players money. So his idea was to basically create like a fund or not necessarily a fund, but like create an account for all these athletes so that they would have the money available to them whenever they left. So instead of giving it to them right off the bat, just putting it in an investment account or putting it in a bank account that they have access to, that they'll get access to once they leave campus. I know that's obviously not as appealing as getting $1 million handed to you right away, but at least when you leave college you'll have money waiting for you whether you make the NFL or not. So I thought that was a pretty cool at the time. I thought that was a pretty cool idea, and I think based on some of the way some of the actions I've seen some of these players taking now with how they're handling receiving all this money, I think that might be it could be obviously some form of that could be a good alternative to instead of letting these kids just have $1 million accounts already after their first year being on campus with the school they're at. So I don't. It's tough, like you said. It's hard to kind of figure out how to exactly curb the issues that can possibly come up. You can't stop every issue, obviously, but I think something needs to be done to kind of protect the kids from themselves because they're kids out there. I mean, can you imagine our parties and the things we would have gotten into if we were getting like $500,000? It would have been.
Did.
I don't even want to think about the part or the stuff that we would have got into. Yeah, it would have been.
Then I'd redo my
I can't even.
20s.
It would have been bad. I already know. It would have been insane. I mean, the parties we were throwing. We threw some crazy parties in college without money, and that we have $500,000. Which would have been acting.
We probably could have double bagged our walls instead of just one trash bag on the wall. Put two
up. Exactly. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, they're able to figure things out, and we'll see if the NCAA does lift these rules. We'll see what restrictions get put in place. I guess it will probably be up to the schools on an individual level to put whatever rules they want to put in place. So hopefully that maybe will make things a little bit better. But speaking of the NFL and college football, the NFL draft coming up on Thursday. We think we got Cam Ward scheduled to be, or everyone's saying that he's going to be the number one pick. I think going to Tennessee. Then got right now Travis Hunter's projected to go to Cleveland. They got Abdul Carter going to the Giants. Will Campbell from LSU, the offensive lineman, going to the Patriots. Mason Graham, the D lineman, going to I think Jacksonville. They got Ashton Genty going to the Raiders. Well, God knows we need a running back at the Raiders because we've just been tricking it off for the last. I'm ashamed to call myself a Raiders fan. Yeah, I have to still maintain my loyalty, but hopefully, and sad that I'm going to be relying on Pete Carroll as a Bruin to get us right. But whatever works at this point. At this point, whatever works.
It's better than be a Cowboy fan, so you're okay.
Cowboys are gonna be nice to us, dude. Don't sleep on the Cowboys, man.
It may be in Madden 26. we don't real life football.
Watch Jerry Jones trade Micah Parsons. He's crazy enough to do it.
Well, I mean, kind of speaking on, I think I read an article today that said Jerry Jones is saying that they're going to be making some substantive trades this year. I don't know in regards to moving up for draft position or drafting active players.
Definitely will.
I mean, last year he said they were all in, so I don't know, what substantive trade means this year. But
he's like Vernon Bed, all talk.
That's so trash.
Well, Vern does have 4 kids, so I don't know. He does have some evidence. He does have some evidence that something's going on over there.
Well, we just all know the Cowboys would be bottom dwellers if they didn't have the Giants in their division.
Hey, that division though, what is it now? Like 23 years in a row that there has not been one repeat conference champion.
So that means it's going to be the Commanders.
That's crazy. That's actually surprising to me, though, with some of the teams that have come out. Not even just for the Cowboys, but like some of the big teams some of the really good teams that the Eagles have had in the past too. That they haven't repeated as champions before.
Well,
That's
it's simple because the way that the schedule goes, whoever wins the division got to play the top teams in the other divisions. So their division is so bad that when they win that division, they got to play the top team in all the other divisions. So then they lose more games, and so they don't win the division again. And then the ones that are on the bottom, the ones that's on the bottom play the worst team, and they're just so happen to be a little bit better, and so then they win the division, and then it's rinse and repeat. So
Yeah.
that's why it's never a repeat. They play the Giants twice, so they're gonna get win. And then they got to play the
Yeah.
top team. So the Eagles probably won't win it. They got to play the Lions. Then they're gonna have to play the top teams and other things. So they probably won't win the division.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty. I mean, I never thought about that, but I guess that makes sense. But so wait, is that the same for? Do they do that for every team in other divisions too? Like if you win your division, do you end up
Yeah,
having to play more of the top teams?
yeah. That's why I think it's impressive when there's a team that wins the division or stay on top for multiple years because your schedule is going to be harder than the rest of like the rest of the teams. So
Right.
like
Well,
the
That's
Commanders,
that's where the Niners fell off. The Niners fell
we
off
got some
just like that.
insider information from former
oh yeah, so
NFL
that's why the
players. So that
49ers road is going to be a lot easier this year because they were terrible last year, so their schedule is going to be a lot easier. Cowboys, same thing. They were third in the division, so they're going to have a lot easier schedule. So that's why the Commanders are probably going to struggle this year because they were, I think, the bottom team last year. So they played all the worst teams. So since they were second in the division, they're going to play a tougher schedule this year. That's why CJ Stroud and Houston struggled too. They went from being the bottom team in their division. So they had a cupcake schedule. And then last year, because they played well the year before, they had a tougher schedule. So they struggled.
so so based on what you're saying, do you think Jaden Daniels will can repeat what he did last year, or do you think that's more, or do you think it's more of a
No,
product of the schedule, the play that the people, the opponents that they had last year?
He's going to be a beast. But then again, he sees the Cowboys and the Giants twice. So that's 4 games that he's going to be able to pad his stats. So,
So
so,
he's got a guaranteed four wins
Here we
right there.
go. Here we
so,
go.
so he's going to be good. But I am curious to see how he's going to do because, like I said, his team the year before finished in last place. That's why they were the second overall pick. So their schedule was a lot easier. They played the Bears. They played all these teams that were bottom dwellers. So now they're gonna have to play a tougher schedule.
Okay, that makes sense.
No,
I think Jaden Daniels is nice, so I could see him still having that, especially because he has a extra weapon of his legs. I mean, he's not as fast as
yeah,
or dynamic as Michael Vick, but he can definitely the way I feel like it's been a long time since I've seen someone. I think maybe I can kind of compare him to Cam Newton that can kind of where he's like running and it's like effortless running. It's like the way that he moves is just like it's like he can just kind of get into his gear whenever he needs to get into it. It's not like he's like he doesn't
and
seem
he
like
can
he's
throw the ball
taking
now. He
and he can throw the ball. So I think that's kind of that extra little
yeah
attribute that he
yeah he
has
can throw
compared
the
to other
ball
running mobile quarterbacks.
and
You're good.
but
No,
yeah.
you can go ahead.
Oh, because like Toby keeps on like freezing on me, so I don't know if he's
Yeah,
talking.
it comes in and out sometimes, Cobes. But
Oh, it does.
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
But
okay.
all
yeah,
good.
and I also just think when I think of Washington, I just think
Let me get my charger real quick.
like he didn't really have much weapons like that. So like I just think that his situation is going to get better where like other people had weapons around him. Like Jaden had Terry McLaurin and Scary Terry's nice, but like other than that, I don't think too many people can name any other player that was on their team. He had Austin Eckler that I mean, we can probably do the same thing Austin Eckler can do right now. No, I'm not gonna disrespect him like that, but
Not me, bro.
so and then Brian Robinson. So I still see like he's gonna be okay. But yeah, a lot of people I know I tell them about that schedule thing and they get surprised by that. But I used to pay attention to that all the time. Like right when the season ended, I already knew all the teams we were gonna play because we were gonna be third or fourth place. So we were gonna play bottom teams and all the other and that's why you see a lot of teams play each other all the time too, because they either always are on the top. So the Bills and Chiefs are always going to play each other because they're always going to win their division. So even when they're not playing each other divisionally, they're always going to play each other because they're going to win their divisions. And that's how the 49ers and whoever wins the division all the time in those other other things. Like that's how the schedule is always built.
Okay, that's some good insider information. That'll help me repeat as champion next year for for the fantasy draft. Now I know that
Oh dang, okay.
some of my players might be run into a tougher schedule than they did the year before.
I mean, are we actually like having a draft or something? Because I mean, we've been
Oh,
waiting
I know,
for the plans. What's happening?
my bad. No,
What we doing?
I'll figure it out. I'll
All
figure it out.
Nah,
I'll have some for you guys by the end of May for sure.
right. All right,
I figure. I mean, last thing on the NFL draft that I was gonna just double check though is like Travis Hunter. Does this guy play both ways in the NFL? Bottom line, point blank. And I'm like, I personally, I'll start it off. I just don't see it right now, and I'm not trying to be a hater. Like I want him to go do his thing, but like I was kind of surprised. I happened to come across a video where Steve Smith, of all people, was like watching him do his routes at his pro day. And he was talking about like he was already picking up tendencies as to like when he's going to make a certain cut or when he's going to be adjusting his route. And like as a result, he's like, that's why he can't play both ways in the NFL. Because if he could pick it up, he's like, the NFL cornerbacks are going to eat this up. And he's not going to be, you know, as successful if he doesn't just focus on one specific role. And he's like, in the NFL, you can't necessarily be a jack of all trades because you don't get paid. They paid masters at their position, and he's gonna have to
That's
master
true.
his craft at one position if he wants to get paid and last in the NFL. But that'll be my last. I'll open it up from there.
I thought it was interesting the fact that he said. I mean, I liked his confidence in himself. I'll say I'll start off there, but I thought it was interesting him saying that he would like not play at all if he doesn't get to play both. I was like, I just don't understand. I mean, he's young. Kids say stuff, so they don't like kids don't they don't know what they don't know. But for him to say something like that was kind of interesting. Like, sure, you're just gonna quit playing football forever if you can't play both positions. Like, that's kind of I felt that was a little extreme, but
He's gonna have to pick one dominant position, and then they're gonna let him sprinkle in some stuff and the other things. Like I feel like he's probably gonna be a corner because I don't think you need as much refinement as you would be as a receiver, and then they're gonna have some type of packages for him as a receiver. That's going to be
yeah,
his best case scenario. He's not going to be a full time going both ways. Like it ain't no way that's happening. Ain't no way. I think he's a beast, and I think he deserved to probably go both ways because he can affect the game. But it's no way that he's full time. Like he's going to be a full time, probably defensive back corner because he's an athlete, and athletes are going to do well at corner, and then give him a couple packages so he doesn't have to overthink, overreact. Just find ways to get him a bubble screen, give him a tunnel screen, get him something in space, and just
yeah,
let him be a playmaker and do that. But like, why have him out there to go block? Like,
Yeah,
why
yeah,
have him out there to do a runoff route? Like, why are we going to waste his energy to do all that stuff? Like, just
hmm
have him have a couple packages because at corner, it ain't no runoff or no like easy thing. Like, you're going to be involved
yeah,
the whole
right.
time.
Yeah,
so, so that's what I think. But I think teams are trying to be coy because they don't want to like have any actions. But he getting the OTAs. He's gonna pick one side because he can't be in both meeting rooms. He can't do both individual drills. Like he's gonna have to pick a dominant position.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's what I think. I agree.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I
And
feel the
and
same way. I think he'll play out exactly like you said. He'll probably start off playing corner, and then come in on select packages on receiver. I think that just makes the most sense, especially when you're a rookie. I mean, it's different when you're playing against college players. Not that college players aren't elite. Obviously, there's college players that go to the NFL and play at a high level, but you're not playing. You're playing against a whole team of elite college athletes who are once elite college athletes. Now they're pro players, so it's a different. He's going to have to take some time to kind of get used to the difference in speed, size, plays, all that adjustments, all that. There's just too much of a learning curve for him to, like you said, Frank, try to be instead of trying to master both sides is not not gonna be able to do that right off the bat. He's gonna have to focus on one. So
Yeah.
I think that's what's gonna have to happen.
And if Cleveland drafts him, he doesn't even have to be the number one guy because they got Denzel Ward, so he'll be able to go with the number two guy, and then he's gonna have Myles Garrett rushing the ball. Like, to me, especially if the Browns get him, it just makes sense for him to go DB and give him some packages on offense. Like, he's gonna have less stress, use that athletic ability because I think Denzel Ward is super nice. Like, and Denzel's getting older too, so he'll mold into being that number one guy. So, but that's my thought. That's my thought because he's too much of an athlete. I feel like to almost waste as a receiver.
Yeah,
Like,
true.
Yeah, like
like not
those
saying,
elite ball skills as a DB are more valuable. Like it sets him apart on that side of the ball more than it would on the receiver side of the ball.
yeah,
For sure. Nah.
he'll get paid way more money being a DB than him trying to be a receiver. And not saying that he's not a good receiver. Like he'll be a good receiver, but I think he'll be like he's not going to be no Jamar Chase. But I
Right.
think he could be a Denzel Ward, a Stingley type corner. But I don't see him being no Jay
Yeah.
Jetta or or no Jamar Chase at receiver.
Yeah. And I think like the last thing before we go, that's one thing I wanted to ask you about, Al, is for me, I mean, I think he's a great receiver, but like what is it that really separates receivers? Because I mean, there's so many great receivers you see in college go to the NFL and they kind of just fizzle out. They don't really do well. Like what is it that makes a receiver NFL level, like in terms of being a great receiver in the NFL? Like what is it that kind of sets them apart from just being a good college receiver to being like an actual receiver who can make a living in the NFL on a week to week basis?
I would say it's two things, and really, those two things I don't think has anything to do with the receiver. I think it's who the quarterback is and the scheme he go to. That's what's going to be the difference between anything. Because you can be the best receiver in the world, and you go to a situation where the quarterback can't get you the ball, you gonna be frustrated. Look at DJ Moore this year in Chicago.
Yeah.
Like he was over here frustrated the whole time. I don't care how good you are, if the quarterback not giving you the ball, it don't matter. So that's when I even look with Cleveland. Like, shoot, who the quarterback? Like
Yeah.
he ain't gonna get no shine over there on that side of the ball with who's playing quarterback on that team. Like he need to go ahead and make him some money on defense and wait, and maybe even wait for a quarterback to come in. But but really because like I said, it's the quarterback because the receiver got to be on the same page with the quarterback. Like if
Sure.
you're not on the same page with the quarterback, you run a route at 17 yards, but the quarterback thinks you're going to break it off at 15. That ball's going to get intercepted. That quarterback not going to throw it to you again because he can't trust you. It's all about meshing with the quarterback. So I think the people that transition the best, they have a rapport with the quarterback. I mean, Tank Dill, C.J. Stroud, they both came in together. They built a rapport together. Like all the people that have rapports with their quarterback are the ones like successful. Jordy Nelson and Aaron Rodgers are like the big one I think of. I'm like, I just felt like they had just a rapport with each other. Devontae Adams, like they knew each other. Like even when it probably is not scripted, they already know what they're going to do. So to me, that's what sets it apart. Like, is the college player going to put in that amount of time to build that rapport with the quarterback to be able to be successful?
No, that makes sense. That's true. That's
Or
true.
get drafted with Matt Stafford's quarterbacking because any receiver with Matt Stafford balls out. Puka, Cooper, Calvin Johnson, Golden Tate. It don't matter.
Yeah.
Feed
Yeah.
him. Feed him.
That's true. Matt Stafford is pretty nice. He's still doing. He's like what? Isn't he? He's our age, right? 30. He's about to be 37 or 38.
Yeah, he graduated when we graduated, too.
Yeah, so he's about to be 37. Yeah, still out there throwing bullets. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna go ahead and end it here. We don't want our wives to get mad and to sleep and be. We don't want any of us to be sleeping in the other room. So, we'll go ahead and end it here. Thank you guys all for being here. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're the Armchair Quarterbacks. See you guys next week. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week and peace out.
Look forward to the next one for sure.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.